Hello, Comic Book Nation. Welcome back to the studio here, the Comicbook.com studio at San Diego ComicCon. I'm Brandon Davidson. I'm joined by somebody I'm a big fan of, and if you know me, you know this is no surprise. Mr. Jim Starlin. Lots of experience with Marvel Comics, also DC Comics. Honestly, just an impressive life you've lived. I'd like to talk about that.
I'm a real prostitute. I'll work for anybody.
But one thing, I don't know if you get asked about this a lot, but you were in the Navy, a
Yes.
photographer, and I was reading up about this recently, and you kind of took that photography skill and you applied it to comics for art. I'm just curious, how did those two how did one lead to the other?
I actually didn't, well, when I was in the service, I used to draw a lot on the back of old photographic paper that had gone out of stock or, its life had spent, and so I used to send in complete Hulk stories to Marvel while I was in the service that were on photographic paper, slick and glossy on one side and matte on the other, with the drawings on it. I didn't actually put photography to work in the comics until I got around to the Metamorphosis Odyssey with Dreadstar, because I painted the beginning of the Dreadstar series. First off in black and white and then in color, and I used photo reference for all the characters. Frank Miller was one of the models. His wife Lynn Barley was another. I grabbed everybody who came through. Joe Rubenstein was the smaller version of Syzygy. Val Merrick and I took turns being Za. And I knew Dreadstar was going to be the character who was going to stay around the longest, so I sort of used myself as a model on that one. And that was about the only time that the photography came in there until we got digital, and I started using them as backgrounds occasionally.
Oh, okay. Smart play. Interesting.
Lazy in my old age.
I don't blame you. That's a lot. But also, I mean, you're back at San Diego Comic-Con this year. What number Comic-Con is this for you?
I have no idea. I've been here at least a half dozen times. I started off in the 70s in the old El Cortez.
Wow.
I'm not here from the first one, so it's not been 50 years that I've been coming here, but I was on it early on, and I don't remember a lot of the first ones because most of the time I spent up on the roof with some science fiction writers smoking a little dope and hanging out and talking about stories.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was quite fun.
It's come a long way, man, that we're celebrating 50 years in this convention here.
Yes, it's a whole different story. You have 14 times as many people can hear than I have in my town where I live.
Wow. Yeah. It's packed.
And I'm talking about on a weekend in my town. I have a small town.
So have you been out there at all? Have you interacted with fans yet since you've been here?
Only to get to one interview to the other today, because that's all today is about. And I had a panel this morning. I did interact with people there, sign some books. This is the first convention I'll be going to where I'm not sitting at a table. This is all meetings, interviews, and parties.
There you go. Well, live it up, man.
2 out of 3 I can live with until so I can get to that third one.
Yeah, and then repeat. That's Comic-Con.
Yes.
So what at events like your panel, what do you think the fan reception's been like now that characters of yours have been on the biggest stage? I mean, we're about $7 million away from the world record.
Movies make a big difference. Thanos and I were very comfortable for many decades being little cult characters, who showed up in the Marvel Comics every so often. We're both adjusting to this change. I think he's taking it better than I am. I'm freaking out a lot. But basically, it's changed a lot. I can't go to the YMCA anymore without somebody wanting me to sign a book, because I work out there, play racquetball there. But it's different. I'm adjusting. I'm enjoying it. I kid that I'm going to savor my 15 minutes of Andy Warhol fame and then drift back into bitter obscurity. But
I think maybe they should be putting you back to work with more stories if you're up for it.
There's Warlock and there's Shang-Chi coming and other things, so that 15 minutes may get extended out a little bit.
I think so. So let me talk. Let's continue talking about that real quick. I brought this to tell you about it earlier. This is my Infinity Gauntlet comic, and everybody who's watching this, I'm sure, knows that the Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were very much influenced by this book, and this 6 issues of this story. There's a couple other that may have made their way in, but that's the main one. So when you found out that that book is going to become basically the centerpiece for the biggest movie franchise of this generation, possibly of all time, what goes through your mind that you created that character, you helped tell that story?
Well, even when Thanos showed up at the end of the Avengers movie, there was no way of telling that it was going to become the monster it is. Before they started shooting Infinity War, they had a collection, one of the big thick versions of the Infinity Gauntlet, and they showed it in this video that they presented that showed the beginning of the makings of the movie, and it was all with these stickers sticking out where the writers had made notes and stuff like that. And up until that point, nobody knew for sure that this was going to be the Gauntlet story. A lot of folks were speculating that it was another story that had the Black Order in it, that this was what the story was. So when
Jonathan Hickman.
Yes, that's the one. And so when I saw that photo with all the things there, I wrote this little thing in my Facebook and said, well, I guess that settles which book they're choosing. And then I just, out of a just joking around, I said, Mr. and Mr. Russo, so I'm ready for my close-up. And 2 weeks later, a producer from Disney calls and says, how would you like to be in the second movie? And I had no idea this was going to come. So everything involved in this enterprise has been a surprise to me from start to finish.
The Russo brothers are the nicest guys in the world, too.
They are. They were so welcoming on that thing. I went down there expecting that I was just going to sit around and watch them shoot a scene or something like that. And first thing they do is they give me a script. And then they started telling me everything, because we all signed non-disclosure agreements, and they had been working on this thing for 3 years and not been able to talk to anybody, especially the writers.
Right.
And so as soon as I got there, they hauled me off and started filling me in on stuff, and I was just blown away. And it was fun, friendly, one of my best days I think I had.
That's so cool.
It was very nice.
And you're sitting there right across from Captain America.
Yes.
How crazy is the security? Have you ever experienced anything like it? Because I've heard so many stories from different actors and different people who have been on set. When you walk in.
Actually, we didn't run into anything like that. My wife was sneaking photos, and
you can't say that out loud.
Oh, yeah, she did. It's all over now. We can get away with it. And the security guard came over and said, "You got to erase those," and she goes, "Okay, I did," and she took them home.
There you go. Those are good memories to have. And you mentioned ShangChi. A lot of people have different expectations. Marvel Studios has their panel on Saturday. We kind of know that there's a ShangChi movie coming by now. That's been all over.
That's the rumor I hear.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if that is the case, hypothetically until Saturday, what do you want to see? You've had a hand in creating that character. How do you think Marvel kind of makes sure they capture the essence of ShangChi? What story would you like to see? His dad, anything like that?
I can't imagine them doing anything but starting off with an origin story, because you got to begin somewhere. I think it'll be loosely based on probably what we did over the first few issues. I only did 3 issues of the book. I imagine there'll be some eliminations, like we won't see Fu Manchu in the book. Thank God.
And a lot of people are wondering if we are going to see it. Will they go that way? But I don't think they will.
Well, they still have Ben Kingsley around. They can always use the Mandarin.
That's true.
So, that's a shot in the dark. I'm speculating
or the real Mandarin, depending on how they want to go.
Well, didn't they do a little short thing where they established that he was the real?
It was on the Iron Man 3 Blu-ray. I forget, All Hail the King.
Yeah, I've never actually saw it myself, but I've heard about it. So, there's all possibilities. I would think, because of the screenwriter I've heard that they have on, who's got sort of a comedic bent, or at least history, that they're probably going to lighten it up from what it was. And that'd be a good thing, because there are about 1 million kung fu movies out there. And you have to really do something different to differentiate yourself from it. And Marvel's been pretty good about coming up with those hooks to make it a little bit different.
I agree. And the comedy of it makes it fun, too. Even when you do have emotional beats, you also laugh.
You need that.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the more grim story. You know, like look at War and Endgame. Those are some pretty grim movies, but they've got those points where they lighten things up, and that gives you the ability to enjoy being depressed, because you know that it's temporary and you're going to get a lighter moment down the line.
Right. Tony Stark dies, and then you laugh in the next scene. Things like that.
You know.
So they find a good balance. So I mean, with everything that we're celebrating, I mean, it's 50 years of Comic-Con. This stuff all continues to grow and become more mainstream. I mean, what makes you the happiest to see all these people coming to celebrate? I mean, since you've been doing this for so long and it continues to grow, do you like to see the growth in comics? Do you like to see the movies, the characters just get more recognition? What is the most rewarding element as somebody who's been a part of this? That
is still here, because most of the time that I have been in this business, there have been repeated doomsday. Oh, it's over. You know, video games have come. Nobody's going to read anymore. This is the end of comic books. You know, movies came. Well, they're going to stop reading comic books. Everything that came around, the iPhone, that's the end of comic books. You know, and comic books are still around. They're a different creature right now. They're not selling the millions that they did in the 1940s. But, you know, they are generating more money for the company that owns them than all those books did there in the 1940s. It's a different world. It's a different setup. And if you can survive and you don't become the next buggy whip, I think you've won.
It's true.
You know?
It's good to see it. It's good to see it thriving. I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming by, Mr. Starlin. A big fan of your work. And everybody home, thank you so much for watching Comic Book Nation. Make sure you stay tuned to ComicBook.com all week through San Diego Comic-Con, because we have lots of fun stuff coming up. Thanks, everybody.